Okay, I'm Krista, I'm an addict.
I'm Gracie and I'm not.
I'm Matt. I'm an addict.
Okay, so today we have Matt on here. He's gonna share a little bit of his story with us. Matt, so briefly describe what brought you to recovery.
Um, well, I've struggled with addiction for a lot of my life, and 6 year I got a sobriety date of 1/7 or 1/21/2017, and just had to make a change. Things all fell apart for me, and had to find a new way of life, and that's what I did a little over 6 years ago. Here I am today. You want a
Okay,
little
so
bit about?
yeah, like
So,
what events led you up to
what
that?
is that? Okay. All right. So, see, I partied for most of high school and most of my 20s, and then when I was 30, I obtained my degree and I started teaching, but I never really let the part-time partying go, and eventually it just got worse and worse and worse and worse, and I lost my job as a teacher. Ended up going to prison, and got out and stayed clean since then.
So a lot of people that are watching this like haven't been to jail. They don't know much about like the prison system. Like what were your thoughts when you walked into prison for the first time? Like not
Ah,
just county, but
I was terrified. Like I said, I was a teacher. And I come from, middle class background. But I'd always been kind of fascinated with the streets and always kind of wanted to run around, and act act like I wanted to, like I was a gangster or whatever. Just kind of just fascinated with that fast lifestyle. And then everything came to a head, and I got arrested and went to prison. So I really thought I loved that lifestyle until I walked through those doors, and I realized it was not the place for me. So it was terrifying. But
yeah.
if I put one word, it was terrifying. Being
Oh,
30, I was 38 years old, walking into prison for the first time. It and I was sent to a maximum security prison, so uh, it wasn't pleasant at all.
and how long did you do when you were in there?
I did a couple years. I got sentenced to 20 years, but I was purposeful incarceration. So while I was in prison, I did a program called Cliff, which is a 9 month rehabilitation program. So um, believe believe I did about 30 months. So um,
Shoo.
yeah, it was a 9 month program, but they don't tell you that it takes a few months to get in and a few months to bring you back. So
Yeah.
once I was there for a while, you're going to settle into anywhere. So I kind of settled in, and doing a program, it wasn't as violent as a lot of the other places. So I was able to really focus on myself. Now I look back on it. If it wasn't for prison, I don't think I'd be where I am today. Um, making it through that gave me a lot of time to sit and reflect on a lot of the choices I had made, a lot of the people I've hurt, a lot of the things that I need to do, and gave me a motivation to never go back to those ways again.
Okay. So Gracie brings like the family perspective to this, and like what is the difference between like how, like your addiction affected your family relationship to like now, what it's like now?
Oh, so I came from a family where everyone drank. It wasn't uncommon to see drugs when I was growing up. But then I have a whole other side that really doesn't do anything. So um, it really strained most of the relationships. I'm lucky, man. I have some family that stuck by me. Some of them drew really hard boundaries with me, which probably saved our relationships today. But all of them were falling apart at one time, especially when I was kind of in my downward spiral. Um, in recovery, my relationships are with my family are stronger than they have ever been. Especially the ones who stood by me. And I talk a lot. I don't know if tell everybody here. I work with Krista, so we work in the same place, and I tell our clients a lot of times about boundaries. And some of my strongest relationships with families or my family is my cousin, who actually he's like a brother. He set the hardest boundary with me, um, and when I got out, I thanked him for that. Uh, and it's because it's exactly what I needed. Um, and so now, they see the work that I do. They see how I'm living my life, and I've just doing that. I've been able to earn their trust back. There's really nothing I could say, nothing I could do to make it happen right away. It was just living this life, the next right thing, being a man of my word. If I'm going to be somewhere, I'm there. Self sufficient, showing up, suiting up, and showing up, like they say in the rooms.
Yeah.
Eventually earn that trust back.
What
Guess
do you
that
do? What do you do? What do you do now to maintain your recovery? Because that's important.
absolutely. I work in AA program. I have a sponsor. My sponsor has 37 years uh, of recovery. I stay in contact with my higher power. When I got out, I had a really narrow. Once I realized what I wanted to do, I had a really narrow focus on what I wanted to do, and so I surrounded myself with people who could help me achieve my goals. Um, I like to call it like I belly up with people who have what I want. And so I surrounded myself with people who knew how to be sober and knew how to stay sober and then knew how to um, navigate all of the pitfalls and all of the things that could come your way, in recovery and trying to rebuild your life. And so surrounding myself with people like that who I still talk to. Um, I go to work. I've changed my whole circle, but in therapy. So
Yeah.
probably, if you work a program and you get some therapy, and once you're ready, you start digging into the mental health. Surround yourself with good people, and just keep doing the next right thing. And find something greater yourself to believe in. I think that's a recipe for success. At least it has been in my case.
For sure. So you work in recovery. How do you separate like your like working in recovery every day with your personal recovery?
I'm getting better at that. It was hard at first to not get my recovery from work. But I set these boundaries with myself. If I go to a meeting and I have clients there, I tell them, "Hey, I'm here for me. This is my meeting for me today. If we got anything we talk about it later." And the clients usually always respect that. Take time to turn my phone off. When I'm at work, I'm at work, and when I'm at home, I'm at home. And it's hard for those to not mesh or blend together,
Yeah.
especially once we're taught in the rooms, be of service and help people. And it's easy to fall in the trap of, sorry, I got my dog here, she's pushing all over me. You want to go viral. And so I lost my train of thought. Not getting my recovery from work. It's easy to rest on your laurels, sit back and say, well, I helped 15 people today and I did this today, I'm good.
Yeah.
But my sponsor kind of explained to me. My sponsor actually works with me as well now too. He, after I'd been here about 2 years and he had retired, and he asked if I could get him a job. So I don't suggest you hire your sponsor because he can find you anytime, which he does. So, but he said you get to work with people a little differently outside of work because there's parameters of things you can do with someone at work. Outside of work, I can go pick someone up and take them to a meeting, or I can go to their house and hang out. So it's just a little different, and drawing a line in between what I can do at work and what I can do in my personal recovery.
Yeah. So you've been in recovery for a little bit. So like the whole fentanyl crisis and stuff, like what are your thoughts on that? Because like you kind of, I even missed that whole, like.
Yeah, I thank God that it wasn't really around when I was using it. I mean, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
it's true that, your next one could be your last one, and I like to remind our clients a lot that, next one could be the last one you ever do. You're on borrowed time if you go out and start doing it again. And it's in just about everything. Um, it's really scary, and it's destroying families and destroying lives. And, the more people we can get into recovery and get away from, more people we can save. So anybody who's alive right now that's been using drugs, you're a miracle. You
Yeah.
know,
I was
uh,
telling Gracie before that like people that are coming in are testing. I mean, everybody's having fentanyl in their system and not even knowing it, like not even realizing it.
I just had one of my best friends pass away. Gosh, probably about 3 months ago. He had gotten out, gotten clean, and had that one relapse. And his parents found him laying on the floor, and then he was doing meth. So
Yeah.
I think it can sneak up on you. People don't even think that it's going to be meth. I actually heard a story the other day of a guy borrowing a cigarette from someone. Normally, I don't believe these when I hear these things, but um, I ended up kind of, it was pretty convincing that he had gotten a cigarette from somebody and overdosed, fell out at the boat smoking the cigarette, and turned out,
That's
he took
insane.
fentanyl. Now, so you never know.
Yeah. So, like they talk about harm reduction is something that we haven't really like talked about here, like on here, like, test strips and, like with people that are using right now, like what do you suggest as far as for harm reduction?
Um, have Narcan. Don't use by yourself. Buy from somebody you trust. I know harm reduction has kind of been like a dirty word sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really agree with it, but I mean, it's just the reality. People are still gonna go out and get high. So let's try to mitigate all the dangers that we can. Have Narcan. Use with somebody. Um, have clean needles. I'm a firm believer in the needle exchange. I really wish that we had one here in Evansville, in this area,
Yeah.
but just take all the precautions.
Yeah. I'm definitely for that. But yeah, that's not talked about a whole lot, just those type of things. So I think it's good to bring light to it. So,
I heard somebody who said it promotes drug use, and I think that's just ridiculous to hear that. It promotes safety, it promotes saving lives. It's not only good for addicts, it's also good for our community. People use
yeah,
clean needles.
spreading diseases. It's like,
Kind of common sense, and it just blows my mind that people could be against it.
yeah. So, wrapping it up, like, do you have any, like, Gracie, do you have any questions from like the family point of view?
Um, I don't think so. No. I mean, you kind of hit it. So,
When I think about family, if there's family watching, I had a thought earlier, and I was thinking about the way families talk to the addict, and if I could ever give advice, it's talk to them and not at them. I remember a lot of time when I was really struggling, I was talked at a lot, and I think it's just powerful if you listen to them, because if you're getting high and going down that spiral, there's something going on, and a lot of times we want to be heard, not just talked at but talked with, and I know that can be hard, because it's breaking the family's heart too that uh, you're in so much pain. But just to talk with the addict, and find out what's going on, before we go lay down all the rules and boundaries. And if you do this, it's over. But maybe try to talk to them before you talk at them.
Yeah, not like set like ultimatums. That's what, growing
Yeah,
up, that's what my family did a whole lot. Like, you
yeah.
get clean or do this, and that like never
And,
worked.
I do think there is a place for that,
Yeah,
eventually, but I think make the attempts to find out what's going on first. I am a believer in consequences. I think, at least in my case, I learned best from consequences. Tough love is what worked for me, but that doesn't always work for everybody. So, talk to your family member, find out what does work for them, and then you try to do it. Um, but I do agree in setting the boundary eventually. But I think there's many steps we can take before it has to come to that.
That's what a couple people have asked us in the past, you know, like they say they got teenagers that are using hard drugs. It's not just like just drinking anymore in high school and stuff. You got people like, what do you suggest? Like you said, like talk with them or whatever, but what else do you suggest for like a parent who's first, like they're first finding out that their kid is using?
Don't be scared to talk about it. Don't try to sweep it under the rug or ignore it or just punish it. Create an open avenue where they feel safe and comfortable talking, and tell them about the reality of it. Because there is a reality of it. I mean, the reality of it is it's fun. We wouldn't start doing it if it wasn't fun. Eventually, it's
Yeah,
not fun. There's all these dangers, but create an avenue where they feel comfortable um, being able to talk.
good deal. You got any last words for us?
I got any last words? Oh, awesome. You guys are doing this. As much light as we can spread on addiction as community, we need. So I'm grateful you asked me. I guess I kind of begged you to let me on. So,
That is not how it happened.
but I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you guys doing this. And
Yeah. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
all right,
Okay.
thank you.
Later.